Soft thunder hums far away, like a heartbeat of the sky. Clouds drift slowly, silver and bright. Over the peaks of Olympus, the air shimmers with a quiet power, ancient yet gentle in its song. Here begins a tale not of war, but of wonder and discovery untold. Long ago, Zeus stood beneath the heavens, listening to a hidden call. It was not the cry of battle, nor the roar of storms unleashed. It was softer, like wind through trees, whispering of a secret path. The whisper spoke of immortality, not of endless days, but of meaning. What does it mean to live forever, beyond thrones, beyond time? Zeus did not yet know, but his heart stirred with restless curiosity. The clouds parted, and stars beyond the daylight seemed to glow. They beckoned him toward a journey, vast as eternity itself. A journey where answers would be found, not in strength, but in truth. The gods above and mortals below waited, unaware of his choice. For the Path of Immortals was calling, a road few had dared to walk. And so, with thunder at his back and mystery before him, Zeus began. Not with power, but with a question. What is immortality? High upon Olympus, silence rested like a veil across the marble halls of the gods. The fires burned low, and even the wind seemed reluctant to disturb the air. Zeus stood at the edge of the mountain, his gaze fixed on the endless horizon. The sky stretched wide, painted with soft hues of gold, violet, and eternal blue. It was in that stillness, when all seemed calm, that a whisper came to him. It did not come with thunder or storm, but as a delicate murmur in the wind. Zeus tilted his head, uncertain if the sound was memory or something alive. The whisper carried words, faint yet clear, speaking of a hidden journey. The Path of Immortals, it said, flowing like water, soft but unyielding. Zeus frowned, for he was already immortal, eternal ruler of the sky. What could this path mean, if not what he already possessed? The whisper returned, weaving around him like threads of invisible song. Not life unending, but wisdom eternal. Not power, but legacy. The words pressed into his heart, stirring a restlessness long asleep. He looked down upon the world, where mortals lived their fleeting days. They laughed, they wept, they loved, and they remembered. Zeus wondered if their brief lives gave them clarity he had never known. Could immortality mean more than endless breath and unbroken years? The question took root, and he could not turn away from it. He walked through the silent halls of Olympus, searching for answers. Statues of past gods lined the walls, their names fading with time. Even immortals could be forgotten, their power lost in silence. Zeus touched the stone, and for the first time felt a shiver of doubt. He realized immortality without memory was no more than shadow. Outside, the night deepened, and the stars awakened in solemn brilliance. They seemed to shimmer brighter, as though listening to his heart. The whisper rose again, drifting between constellations and soft clouds. Seek the path, Zeus. Seek the truth that even gods have yet to learn, he asked aloud, though none were near. What truth lies beyond eternity? No answer came, only the steady hum of the cosmos above. But the silence did not frighten him, it beckoned him forward. The whisper carried scents of distant forests, rivers, and unseen valleys. It carried echoes of voices, mortal and divine, layered in timeless harmony. Each sound drew him closer to the mystery unfolding before him. Zeus closed his eyes, letting the rhythm of the wind guide his thoughts. Memories surfaced times when he gifted fire, wisdom, or protection. He recalled the joy in mortal hearts, the stories they told in gratitude. He saw that those stories endured, carried from one generation to the next. Perhaps that endurance was the true shape of immortality. The thought lingered, unsettling yet bright, like dawn after endless night. Zeus opened his eyes, and the horizon seemed wider than ever before. The Path of Immortals was not carved in stone, but woven in moments. He felt its presence just beyond sight, waiting for his first step. Thunder rumbled softly, not in anger, but in gentle affirmation. It was as if the sky itself urged him to continue his search. Zeus lifted his hand, letting sparks of light dance across his palm. The sparks drifted into the air, floating like stars into the heavens. They shimmered, then vanished, leaving only quiet behind. He understood. Power fades, but meaning endures through time. The whisper spoke once more. Steady now, like a companion beside him. Follow the echoes. Follow the lessons. Follow the heart of eternity. Zeus breathed deeply, the weight of his throne lighter than before. A king of gods he remained, yet now also a seeker of truth. The whisper had become a promise, and the promise became his guide. And so began the first step of Zeus's journey toward the Path of Immortals. The mountain was quiet, but Zeus's heart was not. The question lingered like fire beneath calm ash. What is true immortality? He whispered into the dawn. The words hung in the air, unanswered, yet alive. Zeus had always known eternity as his crown, but now he wondered if eternity without meaning was hollow. The whisper had planted a seed, and it grew quickly. Each breath carried doubt. Each step carried curiosity. The sky was wide, yet it felt suddenly smaller. Zeus felt the stir of something beyond his throne. He walked along the cliffs, the sea shining below. The waves moved with timeless rhythm, like fate itself. Mortals fear endings, he thought, yet they cherish life. Do they hold a truth even gods have overlooked? His mind replayed their laughter, their songs, their prayers. He remembered the flicker of fire in their villages. Their stories traveled far, carried by voice and memory. Perhaps those stories lived longer than stone or steel. The idea unsettled him, but it also drew him closer. Immortality, he thought, might not live in flesh at all. It might live in memory, in legacy, in love. Yet he could not be certain, and he craved answers. A question without an answer weighed heavier than thunder. Zeus turned his gaze toward the heavens above. The constellations shone with ancient wisdom untold. Stars carried myths of gods, heroes, and mortal dreams. Stories written in light, never fading, never silenced. Was that not also immortality, etched into the sky? He traced Orion's belt, Perseus's blade, Athena's owl. Their shapes burned brighter because mortals remembered them. Their names endured, passed through lips across centuries. Zeus realized stars were not eternal by fire alone. They were eternal because they were seen and retold. The insight struck him, sharp yet tender in truth. Immortality was tied to remembrance, not just existence. He breathed deeply, the mountain wind filling his chest. His voice rolled softly, not like command but confession. If I vanished, who would carry my story? The question frightened him more than silence ever could. He thought of temples, prayers, hymns of praise. Would they endure when time itself grew tired? Or would his name fade, like statues in the rain? The fear turned quickly into determination within him. He would not let eternity be wasted on emptiness. If immortality meant legacy, he would find its path. The whisper returned, soft yet strong in his ear. You search well, Zeus, but truth lies beyond Olympus. The words flowed like water, shaping his resolve. He knew the journey was only beginning now. The gods around him remained unaware of his quest. They feasted, argued, and dreamed in endless routine. But Zeus could not sit still. Not now. Not again. His throne no longer felt like power, but prison. The horizon called louder than any golden crown. He knew he must step away from Olympus itself. For answers waited not in marble halls, but in the world. The path would reveal itself only to those who sought. Zeus whispered to the dawn, I will seek it. The clouds glowed softly, as if blessing his vow. He carried no weapon, no armor, only his question. And the question was weight enough to guide him. Every step down the mountain felt both heavy and free. For the first time, Zeus was not king, but seeker, and the seeker's heart beat louder than thunder itself. The Path of Immortals awaited, hidden but alive, and Zeus had chosen to walk where few dared. Thus began the true question of his heart's journey. The great hall of Olympus gleamed with gold and marble light. Gods gathered around, their voices filling the endless air. Zeus entered slowly, his thoughts heavier than his crown. The whispers of the path still echoed within his mind. He looked upon his kin, each eternal, each radiant. Yet even here, he felt the question burn quietly. Athena was the first to notice his silence. "Father," she said, "your eyes search for something unseen." Zeus nodded, his voice deep yet gentle in reply. "I have heard a whisper of a path beyond time." The hall grew still, curiosity softening every divine gaze. Apollo leaned forward, golden light glowing from his form. "A path. We are gods. Eternity is already ours." But Zeus shook his head, the doubt clear in his words. What is eternity? If memory fades, if stories vanish? Hera rose, her presence calm, yet filled with quiet strength. "Immortality is not lost, Zeus. We rule, we endure." Still, her words did not soothe the storm in him. Hermes laughed softly, stepping closer with a clever smile. "Perhaps the path is not for gods, but for mortals. They find eternity in their stories, in their journeys." Zeus listened, but the question only deepened inside. Could it be that gods, despite power, lacked true legacy? He turned again to Athena, the wise beyond ages. "What is immortality, child? You of all must know." Athena's eyes glowed with thought, her tones steady. "Immortality is not living without end, but being remembered. It is knowledge shared, wisdom planted, seeds that grow." Her words struck him, like truth hidden within silence. Apollo's voice followed, bright as his eternal song. "Immortality is art, Father. It is music, beauty, vision. When mortals look to the sun, they feel my song. They will remember because beauty cannot die." Zeus pondered this, his eyes drawn to distant stars. Each god gave meaning, yet none gave completeness. He felt the truth was larger than any single voice. The hall stirred again, as Poseidon lifted his trident. "Immortality is the sea," he said, waves echoing in his tone. "It moves, it shifts, it never truly ends. But even oceans dry in the memory of time." Zeus's heart tightened, for he knew this too was true. He rose from his throne, his voice rolling like thunder. "My kin, immortality is not power, nor endless reign. It is something greater beyond crown and lightning, but I do not yet see it clear before me." The gods murmured, their faces a blend of wonder and doubt. Never before had Zeus confessed uncertainty so openly. Hestia, quiet flame of the hearth, spoke at last. "Immortality is warmth shared, a fire carried on. Even when the flame dies, its light remains." Her words were soft, but they lingered long in him. Zeus thanked them all, yet felt the path still hidden. For each truth was a fragment, but not the whole. He knew he must leave Olympus to find the answer. Only beyond the throne, beyond the marble halls, lay truth. He lifted his staff, its glow dimmer than before. Not in weakness, but in humility of his quest. The gods watched as their king turned to the horizon. He did not leave in power, but in seeking. For the Path of Immortals was calling stronger still. And even Zeus, Lord of Thunder, must walk to find it. Zeus left Olympus, his steps echoing against the stone of the mountain. The wind grew stronger, carrying with it whispers from far away. He descended into a valley hidden beneath layers of cloud and mist. Few gods had ever walked here, and mortals knew nothing of it. The valley was silent, but not empty. It was alive with echoes. Every sound felt older than time, woven deep into the air. Zeus paused, listening, his heart thrumming like the beat of thunder. The echoes were voices soft, layered, stretching from ages long gone. Some were mortal, some divine, some beyond even his knowing. They carried laughter, sorrow, promises, and questions left unanswered. Zeus closed his eyes, letting the chorus flow through him. Each echo shimmered like starlight, fragile yet eternal in tone. One voice spoke of courage, another of love unbroken by time, another whispered of hope, born even in the briefest life. Zeus felt humbled, as if listening to the soul of eternity. This was no place of marble halls or golden crowns. It was a place of memory, where stories found refuge. The valley breathed with the lives of those who had passed. Zeus realized these echoes had outlived their owners, carried forward. Was this the secret of immortality, hidden in voices unseen? He reached out his hand, and the air vibrated gently. An echo touched him, a memory of a nameless shepherd. It spoke of tending flocks, of loving the earth, of kindness. Though the shepherd's body was gone, his care still lingered. Another echo followed, a queen's vow to protect her people. Her reign was dust, but her promise endured in the valley. Zeus's eyes softened, for he felt the truth in their legacy. These lives had ended, but their essence remained alive and sound. They were remembered not by power, but by the hearts they touched. Zeus knelt, the weight of the whispers pressing gently upon him. He had thought immortality belonged only to gods, unbroken by death. But here, mortals shared eternity, preserved in their love and choices. The valley was a mirror of truth, reflecting immortality beyond time. Zeus rose again, his spirit steadier, his question burning brighter. The whispers wove together into a single guiding harmony. Immortality is not silence, they seemed to sing. It is remembrance. Zeus spoke softly, his voice blending with the ancient air. If mortals can endure through memory, then what is a god's duty? The echoes did not answer. Yet their silence felt wise. Perhaps the answer was not given, but lived. Step by step, the valley stretched deeper, filled with silver light and endless sound. Zeus walked slowly, each step carrying both weight and wonder. The air thickened with more voices, more fragments of existence. He heard lullabies, vows, prayers, laughter that rang forever. Each voice was different, yet together they formed eternity. Zeus knew then that power alone could not grant this. Immortality was not thunder, nor crown, nor endless sky. It was the weaving of lives into a tapestry of memory. Still, questions lingered, like stars beyond the reach of his hand. Could even gods be forgotten, if their stories faded away? And if so, how must he live to be truly eternal? The valley gave him no command, only guidance through echoes. He accepted this, for wisdom often spoke in fragments, not decrees. Zeus stepped forward, leaving the valley with a humbled heart. Behind him, the echoes continued, eternal, soft, unbroken. Ahead of him, the Path of Immortals shimmered faintly once more, and Zeus walked on, no longer only a king, but a listener. Zeus journeyed farther, leaving the valley of echoes behind in silence. The land opened before him, vast and endless under the sky. Mountains faded, and in their place a glowing river appeared. It was no ordinary river, it flowed with shimmering light. Its waters did not ripple like streams, but pulsed like time. Zeus felt its presence before he even touched the shore. The air shimmered, heavy with the weight of countless ages. He stepped closer, his eyes wide with awe and reverence. The river was alive, carrying visions within its radiant current. Moments from the past danced like shadows upon its surface. He saw children playing, kings ruling, lovers embracing under starlight. He saw victories, defeats, laughter, and tears woven together. Every drop of the river carried stories across eternity. Zeus bent down and touched the glowing stream with care. At once, the river revealed his own past before him. He saw the moment he first claimed the throne of Olympus. He saw the fire he had gifted mortals through Prometheus. He saw storms he unleashed, and times he offered protection. The river gave him not glory, but truth, unvarnished and clear. He felt pride, but also sorrow for choices that wounded. The river flowed on, showing glimpses of futures yet unborn. He saw a world where gods faded into quiet memory. He saw mortals telling stories by firelight, voices rising strong. His name echoed in some tales, but absent in others. Zeus shivered not from cold, but from the weight of time. Could even a god vanish, if forgotten in mortal hearts? The river whispered without words, its current shaping his thoughts. Eternity was not guaranteed, not even for immortals. It had to be nurtured, carried forward in memory. Zeus gazed deeper into the light, seeing generations pass. Faces blurred, but their voices endured, like songs in the wind. Some stories grew brighter, others faded into shadows unseen. He realized the river did not choose what survived or vanished. It only reflected what was cherished, what was remembered. Zeus stood tall, thunder humming faintly in his chest. The lesson struck him clear. Power alone leaves no trace, but wisdom, kindness, and stories live beyond the span of time. He asked aloud, though the river only shimmered back at him, "Is this the path? To plant seeds that outlive even gods?" The river pulsed brighter, as if answering without sound. He understood then that immortality was not a gift to claim. It was a responsibility, woven into choices and actions. Zeus took a deep breath, his reflection glowing in the stream. He saw not just himself, but every life he had touched. The good, the flawed, the forgotten, all woven into his legacy. He reached into the river once more, cupping its light. It slipped through his fingers, yet warmed his hand gently. Time could not be held, but it could be honored. Zeus whispered to the current, "I will honor it." The river glowed brighter, then settled back into stillness. He turned away, carrying the vision within his heart. Behind him, the river flowed on, eternal, yet ever-changing. Ahead, the Path of Immortals stretched, unseen but certain. And Zeus walked onward, guided now by the rhythm of time. Zeus moved onward, leaving the river of memory behind him. The path wound upward now, toward a land bathed in golden light. The air shimmered with warmth, carrying a fragrance of blooming fields. Here lay the Garden of Eternal Seeds, a place older than Olympus. Legends whispered that every seed in this garden held destiny. Some would grow into towering oaks, others into flowers that healed, but each seed carried within it the choice of its sower. Zeus stepped into the garden, his feet sinking into soft earth. The ground glowed faintly, as if alive with untold potential. Around him, countless seeds floated gently in the air. They sparkled like stars, waiting to be touched and awakened. A gentle voice rose, not spoken but felt within his heart. "Every act is a seed," it said, tender and timeless. "Every word, every gesture carries roots into eternity." Zeus walked slowly, reaching out toward the floating seeds. One hovered near, glowing with a light both soft and strong. When he touched it, a vision bloomed before his eyes. He saw a child learning kindness from a single gentle deed. That kindness spread outward, shaping generations yet unborn. The seed returned to the air, brighter than before. Another drifted close, darker, trembling with a shadowed hue. He touched it and saw a careless word wound a soul. That pain echoed forward, heavy across unseen years. Zeus pulled back, shaken by the truth he witnessed. Seeds were neither good nor evil, they only carried consequence. The garden held them all, waiting for hands to guide. He understood. Immortality was not only memory, but creation. Each seed planted in time bore fruit beyond the sower's reach. Zeus knelt and placed his palm upon the soil. The ground stirred, glowing warmly beneath his divine touch. In that moment he thought of all he had done, the storms he commanded, the gifts he gave, the tempests he loosed. Each had been a seed, planted into mortal lives. What had grown from them? Strength? Fear? Hope? Wonder? The garden did not judge it, only mirrored truth. Zeus stood, the weight of responsibility heavier than thunder. Every god, every mortal, was a gardener of eternity. The seeds revealed no crown, no throne, no endless dominion. They revealed only legacy, quiet and enduring, in soil and soul. He breathed deeply, letting the garden's lesson fill his chest. "Then let my seeds be light," he whispered to the air. A cluster of seeds glowed brighter, drifting gently toward him. They shimmered like constellations, fragile yet eternal in promise. He touched them, and visions of hope spread like dawn. Children learning courage, mortals choosing love, generations building peace, all from seeds sown not by power, but by compassion. Zeus felt humbled, as if holding the heart of creation. He released the seeds, letting them float back into the air. Their glow lingered, weaving threads into the fabric of eternity. The garden fell silent once more, but its truth remained. Every step forward was a planting, every choice a harvest. Immortality was not in endless life, but in endless growth. Zeus bowed his head, the light bathing his form gently. He walked onward, leaving the garden filled with quiet resolve. Behind him, the seeds shimmered like stars against the dusk. Ahead, the path of immortals stretched wider, waiting for him. And Zeus carried within him not thunder, but a promise to sow with care. For eternity blooms in silence. Zeus walked deeper along the path, his heart steady with new resolve. The air shifted, carrying a hush unlike any he had known. Before him rose a hall, vast and endless, woven of silver mist. Its pillars shimmered like moonlight, vanishing into heights unseen. This was the Hall of Reflections, where truth awaited every soul. Here, gods and mortals alike faced the mirrors of eternity. No crown, no thunder, no mask could shield them here. Only the essence of who they were would shine through. Zeus stepped inside, the silence wrapping him like a cloak. Mirrors stretched across the hall, infinite in every direction. Each one shimmered, not with glass, but with living memory. He approached the first mirror, and it awakened at his touch. A vision formed Zeus as a ruler, mighty and unbending. Mortals gazed at him with awe, but also with fear. The reflection spoke softly. Power without compassion breeds distance. Zeus lowered his gaze, feeling the truth sink deep within. The second mirror showed him not as a god, but as a father. He saw his children, divine and mortal, scattered across the world. Some looked to him with love, others with longing, some with hurt. The mirror whispered, "Eternity is shaped in bonds, not thrones." Zeus touched the surface, his heart heavier yet tender. The third mirror shimmered, revealing him not as he was, but as he could be. It showed a figure walking among mortals, listening, guiding, teaching. No lightning in his hand, only warmth in his presence. The mirror's voice rang clear. This is how memory endures. Zeus felt a stillness within, as if time paused to listen. He moved to the fourth mirror, trembling with anticipation. This one showed no image, only a vast darkness. He leaned closer, and whispers filled the void like hidden stars. Voices of mortals called his name in stories and songs. Some spoke with reverence, others with laughter, others with doubt. Yet all kept him alive, woven in the fabric of time. The mirror's lesson was plain. Immortality is not one voice, but many. Zeus stepped back, his reflection merging with the infinite halls. He realized he was more than thunder, more than the sky. He was a story, shaped by how others carried his name. The hall glowed brighter as he accepted this truth within. The mirrors no longer bound him with judgment, but with freedom. For immortality was not about avoiding flaws, but embracing growth. Zeus bowed his head, whispering into the silence. "I see." The hall stirred, its silver pillars humming with gentle approval. Then the mirrors faded, leaving only his reflection in stillness. It was not a god of storms that stared back at him. It was a being seeking meaning, seeking to plant light. Zeus turned and walked toward the hall's far threshold. Each step echoed like a heartbeat, steady and full of clarity. The mist parted, revealing the path once more under starlight. He looked back only once, the hall glowing softly behind him. It stood eternal, waiting for every soul who sought truth. Ahead, the path of immortals stretched into the horizon of mystery. Zeus moved forward, not with thunder, but with quiet strength, and the night welcomed him, carrying his resolve into eternity. Zeus followed the path, his steps steady beneath the silver night sky. The stars above shimmered brighter, guiding him with quiet light. Soon the air thickened, filled with the scent of parchment and ink. Ahead rose a great library, endless and vast beyond measure. Its doors stood open, carved with symbols of wisdom and time. This was the archive of eternal stories, keeper of voices unending. Zeus entered, and silence greeted him, vast, yet comforting. Rows of scrolls and books stretched farther than eyes could see. The shelves glowed faintly, as if alive with remembered breath. Each book pulsed with the heartbeat of a story preserved forever. He walked slowly, his hand brushing against the glowing spines. One scroll floated free, unrolling gently before his eyes. It told the tale of a nameless poet by a fire. His words had carried across generations, sung long after his death. Another book opened, revealing a mother's lullaby to her child. The song had woven itself into countless cradles through time. Zeus felt the weight of each voice echoing through eternity. The archive whispered without sound. Stories are the truest immortality. He paused, reflecting on the seeds, the echoes, the river, the mirrors. All pointed toward the same truth carried differently through time. It was not thunder, not crowns, but stories that endured. Zeus wondered what stories mortals told of him now. Were they of storms, punishments, or of guidance and care? He reached for another scroll, and it glowed in his hands. This one told of Prometheus and the gift of fire. Mortals remembered not only the fire, but Zeus's choice to relent. His act of mercy became as immortal as his power. Another story revealed his protection of sailors in stormy seas. They remembered the calm after thunder, the safety he granted. Zeus realized then that even gods were pages in a greater book, not by decree, but by how they lived and touched lives. He felt humbled, for the archive did not flatter, it preserved. It held both kindness and error, wisdom and folly alike. Eternity did not erase flaws, it carried them as lessons. Zeus whispered, "Let my story be one of growth." The archive stirred, a soft breeze rolling through its endless halls. A book drifted down, opening to blank, glowing pages. It pulsed as if waiting for him to write his part. Zeus took it gently, thunder quiet in his hands. He breathed deeply, and words began to appear on the page, not written by ink, but by the promise in his soul. "I will not seek eternity in power, but in remembrance. I will sow seeds of kindness, guide with wisdom, and listen. Let my story be one carried not by fear, but by love." The pages glowed brighter, sealing his vow into the archive. The library hummed softly, as though countless voices agreed. Zeus placed the book back onto the shelf, its light enduring. He looked around, feeling smaller, yet stronger within this place. For here, even the greatest gods were only one among many. And that was enough, for to be remembered was to live. He turned, the archive fading into the night behind him. Ahead, the path of immortals stretched, brighter with every step. Zeus walked forward, his heart carrying the weight of stories. Not of thunder alone, but of a life that would be told. Zeus walked onward, the stars above gleaming brighter with each step. The path curved gently, leading him toward a mountain of light. Its slopes shimmered, not with stone, but with flowing radiance. This was the ascent of voices, where memory rose into song. At the base, a chorus began, soft and distant, yet clear. It was not one voice, but many, woven together in harmony. Zeus paused, listening, his chest tightening with quiet wonder. He recognized mortal tones, divine echoes, whispers of ages past. They sang not of crowns or thunder, but of moments remembered. A farmer blessing the rain, a traveler thanking the stars, a mother telling stories of storms that passed safely, a child whispering prayers into the night sky. All these voices had carried Zeus in ways he had not seen. The mountain called him to climb, each note guiding his step. Zeus placed his hand on the glowing slope and began. The climb was gentle, yet endless. Every step met with song. The voices rose as he ascended, layering an endless harmony. He heard laughter, prayers, questions, and even doubt. Yet together they became a symphony, larger than any single truth. Zeus stopped halfway, overwhelmed by the tide of remembrance. He felt small, not as a god, but as part of a whole. The mountain whispered, "Immortality is the chorus, not the solo." He smiled, his heart lighter, and continued his climb. The higher he rose, the more voices joined the harmony. The wind itself seemed to sing, carrying tales across time. He recognized his children's names, spoken with love and reverence. He heard echoes of poets, sailors, dreamers, all threading his story. At last, he reached the summit, a platform of pure light. The chorus swelled, filling the air with timeless resonance. Zeus stood at the center, bathed in the voices of eternity. The mountain glowed brighter, reflecting his acceptance of their song. Here, he did not stand as ruler, but as remembered. The voices hushed, leaving only silence, like a gentle embrace. Then, a single voice rose, tender and true. It was not mortal, not divine, but the voice of time. It spoke. You are carried not by storms, but by stories. Zeus bowed his head, tears glimmering like stars in his eyes. The mountain brightened, its radiance flowing back into the path. The ascent faded, but the song lingered within his soul. Zeus stepped down, now walking with the strength of a chorus. He carried the harmony with him, not as thunder, but as light. The path stretched further, glowing brighter with every heartbeat. Ahead lay the final stage of the journey, cloaked in mystery. But Zeus no longer feared what awaited him at the end. For he knew now, immortality was never about standing alone. It was about being carried in countless hearts, across endless time. And with that truth, he moved forward, steady and unafraid. Zeus walked the final stretch of the path, calm, guiding each step. The night sky above widened, filled with constellations newly born. He sensed the end drawing near, yet it felt like a beginning. The path opened onto a vast plain of golden light. At its center stood a tree, tall and endless in its reach. Its roots sank deep into eternity. Its branches stretched into stars. This was the tree of continuance, keeper of immortal essence. Zeus approached slowly, thunder silent within his heart. The tree shimmered, its leaves glowing with uncountable stories. Each leaf was a life, a memory, a song carried forward. He placed his hand upon the trunk, warm and alive. Visions unfolded like rivers spilling into the open air. He saw mortals telling tales by fire, invoking his name. He saw children gazing at the sky, whispering to the thunder. He saw sailors, poets, lovers, dreamers, each carrying his essence. The tree whispered, "Immortality is the seed planted in countless souls." Zeus bowed his head, humbled by the truth spoken here. He no longer longed for thrones or unending crowns. He longed instead for meaning that lived beyond himself. The branches stirred, releasing a single golden leaf. It floated gently, landing upon his open palm. Within it pulsed not power, but remembrance everlasting. The leaf glowed, then dissolved, flowing into his heart. Zeus felt the chorus, the stories, the songs, the echoes unite. They did not chain him, they carried him beyond time. The tree's voice softened. Now you understand. You are eternal. Not eternal in body, but in the voices that spoke of him. Not eternal in thunder, but in the kindness he left behind. Zeus smiled, his spirit at peace with the path completed. The plain brightened, stars cascading like rivers of light. He turned once more to gaze at the path behind him. Every step had been a lesson, every vision a truth. From the seed to the river, the mirrors to the chorus, all led here to the tree that bound eternity together. Zeus lifted his face to the heavens. No longer a ruler, he was a keeper of memory, a bearer of gentle legacy. The sky shimmered, constellations forming shapes of ancient tales. Among them, a figure of thunder stood, yet softened with grace. It was his story, now etched among the stars forever. Zeus whispered softly, "I am not just storm, I am story." The wind carried his words across the plain of light. The tree swayed, leaves shimmering in approval, eternal and free. With quiet steps, Zeus turned to continue beyond the horizon. He did not vanish. He simply became part of the song. The path of immortals stretched onward, endless, radiant, waiting. And Zeus walked it, his spirit woven with countless voices. For immortality was not conquest, but remembrance shared in hearts. And so the god of thunder became the god of story. The night welcomed him, endless, filled with light everlasting.